Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome all of y'all to Cliff Notes Live episode 269, I think. I don't know. It's way up there. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Hope y'all had a fantastic week, had a fantastic weekend. It's Monday night, which means I get to hang out with all of my virtual family. I don't know. That's not there. Hang out with my extended family. I'm glad to have y'all guys out here. Those of you who've been out here forever, those of you who just started showing up not too long ago, appreciate y'all. Appreciate those of you who show up watching on the replay as well. We're just hanging out, talking a little bit, and I enjoy every bit of it. Let me start with the big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality TV. And boy, do we have a lot coming up this week. And I love you guys that come out here again and hang with me every week. It is a fun little family, isn't it? All right. With all that being said, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, turning on notifications, and hitting the old thumbs up. We've got one more episode of the Traitors. I'm going to cover the finale. And then who knows what happens after that. Before you know it, it's going to be Big Brother. We'll talk about all of that in just a second. Let me, before any of that, come out here and see who all showed up this evening. Oh, and let me say this before I go any further. I don't know exactly what happened last week. I understand there were more ads than are typical. Y'all know I don't do this for the ads and all that stuff, but YouTube changed their configuration. Apparently, there's some things that defaulted that don't normally default. I think that's all fixed. I turned all that stuff off before I set it up tonight. So if you get ads again, let me know. You should, we all get that one at the very beginning that you can skip after 10 seconds or whatever. But beyond that, I don't think you're going to be seeing a lot. So if you do, let me know. All right, because we're out here to have fun. We're not out here to buy whatever. Nothing against YouTube, but that's not the main objective. All right. With that being said, let's see who's out here. Patricia Miller. Patricia, how are you doing, my friend? Maryland is out here as well. Big Jake 88. Brian Hosta. Sorry, Brian Hosta. Survivor. We're going to talk about that. Heather Luck is out here. Karen Loveland. Oh, look at all. Yeah, talking about Kennedy Frank. Kennedy, how are you doing, my friend? Paul Lou 4. Desiree Watts, Michelle Moore, if I didn't say it before. And let's see as I go through here kind of quick. Hope I don't miss that. KGPH, KJ Fillmore. That's what it's supposed to be, right? 6343. And let's see. Wyatt Garrett as well. All right. Well, I think that's, and Cindy. And Kent 427. All right. And Maryland's S22. Did I miss anyone, Sharon? All right, good. Sharon's helping me get this as quick as I can and see who all's out there. Welcome to all of y'all. All right, a few questions and we'll talk about those things. All right, Karen Loveland saying another snowy Monday. Well, I guess it depends on what kind of country you're in. Yeah, I know up in the Northeast it's supposed to be bad, so I hope y'all are staying in, staying warm. Down here, we're in the 70s. We had our week or two of winter, and that's about it. So not down here, but I know y'all are having it hard. We saw that it's like 24 inches of snow on Long Island. I got to reach out to Nicole and see how she's doing. But yeah, a lot of snow and ice. I know the Olympics, there were people saying it's going to be hard getting back because y'all are all snowed in up on in that neck of the woods. Man, I don't know if enjoy it is the right word. I see all the people shoveling the walks. Now, we have to mow our yard a lot more in the summertime than people further up north. But I personally, y'all know how much I can't stand the cold. I would probably do that before having to get out there and do all the snow shovels and everything else. That just doesn't look like a fun way. Now, coming back in for a little hot cocoa, maybe not so bad a payoff. And to sit in front of a roaring fire and all that, that'd be all right. But yeah, for those of you who are snowed in, I'm glad I'm here and able to keep you occupied while you're stuck indoors. It'll be springtime before you know it, and then springtime comes summer, and summer comes more reality TV and trips to the beach. Hopefully not Amity Beach. Da 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 da. Yeah, I watched that for the first time a couple of weeks ago in a long time. So anyway, very good. What? Let's see. What else do we have on here? Yeah. Oh, from Jaws. Da 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 da. I figured y'all probably do that, but if not, let me ask you a question before we go in all the other questions. I mentioned it last week. I told you one of my favorite movies that no one has ever heard of before is Fandango. with Kevin Costner. I think it was Kevin Costner's first big role. It's got Judd Nelson in it. Apparently, Steven Spielberg directed it or was producing it, somehow involved in it. He kind of has disavowed it. He didn't like it. I thought it was great. Anyway, if any of you have not seen it, after I did my show on Monday, I went out and looked. You can watch Fandango absolutely free on YouTube. I don't know how it works out, why they don't call it copyright, whatever, but just type in Fandango, the movie. You can watch the full movie. I don't know if there's even any ads in it. If 1080p, a good resolution. It's not just someone who filmed it off of TV or something like that. So if you haven't watched already, check out Fandango and let me know what you think. I watched a few of the scenes. I was laughing all over again. It's just one of those movies I could watch it 101 times and I'll still laugh every time with some of those. So check it out just while I'm thinking of it. All right. Few questions, comments, things like this. Let's see. Brian is saying, Survivor 50 week. Yeah, I didn't realize. And then and Carol said Survivor 50 Wednesday, Traitors final on Thursday, and then ours House of Villains starts Thursday also. All right, House of Villains. I need to get caught up because I haven't watched it yet, but I want to. Survivor 50, yeah, that's going to be so much fun. And the finale of Traitors, I can't believe we're at the very end at this point. It's going to be fun. Let's start with Survivor 50. So many people involved in. I am curious, have any of y'all done any of these immunity idol searches? They had a different idol for all 50 states. I wonder if they do one for Puerto Rico as well. They ought to do one for there as well. But anyway, they did a immunity idol search where they gave a little clue for each state, and you could show up. And if you showed up and you found the right location, I think maybe you could scan a QR code or something that makes you eligible to win a drawing to go, I think, to see the finale, maybe the big payoff at the end. Well, they did Texas yesterday, and Mitch was over there. I think Karishma was over there as well. And as soon as they started giving out the clues, I knew where it was at. And then later we got confirmation as well. I was thinking about heading over to Austin yesterday. Thought it'd be fun just to hang out with everyone showing up. Didn't get a chance to, but I know Mitch was there and Karishma and maybe a few others. There were so many people that showed up. I saw pictures, lines just back and forth. That people must have been in line 3 or 4 hours to scan this QR code and meet a couple of survivors and all of that. I tell you, I think people are excited about this new season. I am. There's so many people. I don't know how they're going to get rid of this many people quickly enough. And every week you're going to lose someone that you like. I think it's going to be fun seeing a lot of these people gracing our screens again. So yeah, I'm definitely ready for Survivor 50. It's my understanding. I think when y'all put it out there, it's like 3 hours on Wednesday. They had Big Brother. We, even in the best of the drama periods, we still only got 1 hour. Of course, we got 3 hours a week, so I guess I shouldn't really be griping too much. But yeah, 3 hour episode. There's a lot they're going to be showing. Heck, that's just to introduce all 50 players, right? I mean, literally, if you have 17 players per hour introduced, what's that work at? 3 or 4 minutes per player, and you go through 3 hours. So yeah, I don't know how they're going to handle this many people playing the game, but I'm there for it. I am ready for Survivor. And then right after that wraps up, we're going to get Big Brother, which is going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of, if you haven't already done so, get those audition videos in. You never know. You never know who they're going to be picking this particular year. So we'll see that. All right. Y'all want to talk about Traitors? One more episode. So who do y'all think? Who is your all-star player so far this season? That could be a traitor or it can be a faithful. Maybe give me your top pick of each one. I'd be curious to see what y'all think. Karen Hummer is saying, who do you think is gone, Tara or Johnny, as far as who was murdered for this last one? Carol Mosier is saying, hoping Rob wins Traitors, but he has to get rid of Johnny and Tara if he wants to make it at the fire. Yeah, I kind of agree with both of those. I was thinking about it after watching this last episode. I have some experience on reality TV keeping a couple together maybe longer than you should, at least being aware that could be a dangerous combination. If I am Rob, I'm very worried about Tara and Johnny both making it to the finale where they're casting red or green into fire, whether to banish someone or not. because they're not going to go after each other, even if one of them thinks the other one's a traitor. I just don't see them doing that. They're going to vote as a group. And if I'm Rob, I would be worried that if you get to that point, they may vote him out just because they want more money between them, or just to be ultra safe in what's going on. Plus, we've already seen Tara vocalize that she thinks that Rob is a traitor. She said last week, she said, I know he is. I know he is. I just don't know if this is the night that we need to take him out. With that being said, I really think that you have to get one of them out. And do you do it through murder, or do you do it through the final banishment? That's where it gets a little bit interesting. And I think to figure out what's going to happen, you probably have to think first of this. And I'm going to say from Rob's standpoint, because I feel like Rob is basically leading Eric. He's the head traitor. Eric's just the follow along. Yeah, I'll kind of follow and do what you say because I'm still getting my legs under me. Does Rob want to make it to the very end with Eric by his side and have two traitors win this game and split the money up 50-50? Or is he willing to throw Eric under the bus and try to get all the money for himself? Now, besides just greed versus friendships or things like that, I do think that it's hard because from this point on, they aren't going to announce if they're a traitor or not. But I do think if Eric was potentially banished because people think that he's a traitor, I think it would take pressure off of Rob at that final fire, because so far we haven't had a male person who's been revealed to be a traitor. If I'm someone in there, I'm still thinking there's got to be at least one guy. No, there's no guarantee. We know that's the case, but I suppose they could be saying, "Oh, it's a twist. It was all women this year." But I would be thinking there probably was at least one guy at some point in time. So if a guy goes home at the next banishment, then I think it takes pressure off of Rob. Now, maybe you kill two birds with one stone by getting Johnny out. So now you've got a guy who potentially could be a traitor, and you've got people thinking, and you've broken up the couple as well. But then you leave Tara in, who has already voiced suspicions on Rob. So I'm not sure. The other thing, I think Mark is probably, I hate to use the word smart because that's kind of, as Rob said, that doesn't mean I'm not calling you smart, Tara, when he's talking about Natalie. But I do think Mark is probably the most aware of the people left in the game. So there could be something to be said for getting rid of him just because he's probably has a better feel for what's going on. But he has voiced suspicions against Eric. So if you're Rob, maybe you keep him in and let him go after Eric, or at least realize that if he does go after one of you, it's going to be Eric before yourself, as in Rob. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how this works out. All-star wise, I see Star Night Sky saying Johnny is a goner. Rob is playing a good game. I absolutely agree. Rob is my all-star as far as that goes. And Cindy is saying, sad to say, Johnny. I could see it. I agree with both of you. I think it could be Johnny gone because here's the other thing. Tara, I just don't think she's playing the game aggressively or not. The way she backed off at the last round table, I don't know if she would be aggressive in trying to banish someone at the very end when she could just say, nah, all right, I'm good. Let's just see who's the traitor, or if we really did get rid of all the traitors. She's already saying, just send me home because I don't know the game and all of that. Kind of a dance funeral strategy. Oh, woe is me. I'm so horrible at this. You might as well just send me home now. And it kind of takes theoretically some pressure off of you. But I do think that when it comes down to it, Johnny is probably a better target than Tara is for that reason, along with other reasons. I could see Johnny gone. I absolutely do. And again, I think it's the best of all worlds. The more I think about it for Rob, Johnny's gone. He's a guy, which helps him. You've broken up the duo. You've left Mark in, who then is going to go after Eric probably before you. It kind of sets Rob up for the victory lap, I think. We'll see. Rob's done a great job. If I was in the house, I will absolutely admit I would be in trouble because I would have underestimated Rob just because he was on Love Island and all of that. And I would have said, yeah, he's a pretty boy. That's all he does. He's not here for any kind of big strategic game. And I probably would pay the price for it. Yeah. So lesson learned if I ever go on there. Watch out for those Love Island folks. I've enjoyed the season. I really thought Because think about it, we lost so many big personalities. Lisa Reyna, Colton, Tiffany. We've lost Michael Rappaport, whether you liked him or hated him. He was a loud vocal person in there. We've lost a lot of the really loud people, and we're kind of left with people who, the ones that were flying under the radar, that were trying not to make waves, who are trying not to do anything that would get attention, which normally is a bad sign for how exciting a season's going to be. And yet I'm still fully invested. So however it works out, it's worked out so far. I will say though, this last challenge, spinning around, doing the Bowl-O-Rama, in Big Brother, we'd have the spinning around, then you'd have to go bowl the balls. We didn't do that my season, and I don't know why. I could have, I would have fallen on my rear end. I'm not so good. It's not like I do a lot of pirouettes and a lot of spinning, whatever you call it. So I would have not done great. But on the other hand, there were people in my season who made it clear that they could not handle any kind of spin without getting dizzy. So we didn't do Bowl-O-Rama, but it was that kind of challenge. Spin around a lot before you have to go find your stuffed animals, tear them open, find money inside. I'm really disappointed that they let that challenge take place with two people who couldn't spin for medical reasons. So who be? I mean, they didn't say why, and it's not really our place to decide whether they could have or couldn't have. But if there are people who couldn't have done the spinning, I think they should have either picked a different challenge or just said, all right, you can still not spin and you can still go get money and help the group out. But if you don't do the spinning, you're not eligible to get the shield. That seems like the most fair way to do it, right? I would be mad if I was playing Big Brother and they told us that, okay, on this challenge, you don't have to spin, or hey, we know that your grip strength isn't as good as other people, or you've got a problem with your neck or back, so therefore you're not going to actually hang on to the tilting wall. We'll wrap a rope around you instead or something. I would have protested just a little bit on that. But other than that, it's been a fun season. I've enjoyed some of these challenges as well. Ma is out here. Ma, how are you? I know you were out here when we first started. I'm glad to see you out here, my friend. Ma saying faithfuls suck at this. They had Rob and switched to Natalie. Yeah, I know. They yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good way of putting it, Ma. They have let people convince them last minute. And I think it's just this question of, when you come into the round table, do you go after the person who you truly think is a traitor, or do you go after the person who just is sniping at you and seems to be poking at you a little bit? And I feel like we've seen a little bit of that in a few times, where suddenly someone felt they had a target in sight, and then last minute they heard that, oh, so-and-so is mentioning your name. Oh, well, if that's the case, then we're going to switch it up. So and now part of that too is we don't see the whole round table, right? I would love to find out. I'm going to talk to Ian or someone and find out. Maybe not Ian. He wasn't there for enough round table. I'm going to find someone and ask them some questions about these round tables. How long were these actually? Do we see the entire bit, or do we see edited pieces and all that? Because Alan Cumming comes in there and sits for however long he needs to sit until you get the right dramatic conversations and finger pointings and things like that. And then he shuts it down real quick before you can work out any kind of resolution. I mean, they're going for maximum drama in the way they do it. And I'm sure a lot of that takes place even right as you come into the room. But no, Ma, I agree. It's the faithful are not very good at finding these traitors. They got lucky with a few. I mean, not lucky. It's, what was it? Every time, even a broken clock's right twice a day. It's that kind of situation. Now, it's easy for us to say. I know what it's like being in one of these games and you're only hearing partial conversations and you don't know everything else that's being said. It's a lot harder when you're in there. So I'm not necessarily going to fault the traitor or the faithful for not doing better at identifying the traitors. I get it. It's just another reason why I think my strategy, if I went in there, would be, if you could get a traitor out that helps your game, great. But on the other hand, I just wouldn't be that aggressively trying to find the traitors, Now, I would tell people I was, because otherwise they're going to suspect that you could be a traitor instead. But I would tell people that. But I really think from the start, I would be going after the people who I felt were the biggest threat to me, traitor or not. There was, we saw Natalie talk about it. Natalie was saying, I keep wondering why I wasn't murdered last night. Why? And they're saying, well, why do you think that is? And she says, well, I know it's not because Maura's protecting me. I think Rob is a traitor, and he's up there in the turret every night, keeping me from being murdered because we've been working together. When she said that, my thought was, well, if I'm in the around that table, I'm thinking, yeah, that could be it, Natalie, or it could be because you're a traitor and that's why you're not getting murdered every night. I'm not sure the argument landed as well as she thought it would, but there's something to be said for the idea that even if you think that Rob is a traitor, if you're Natalie, run with it. Let him protect you and you protect Rob, and y'all both ride to the end. And then last minute, at that point, maybe you try to banish Rob. Didn't work out so well for her, and she didn't believe it. She only was convinced of it right at the very end. But I would go in there, even if it was someone I absolutely was certain was a traitor. That doesn't mean I'd necessarily immediately take him out. I think there's some advantages that people don't always catch on to. And we've seen a few people. Tiffany tried it this season, didn't work that well. There's no guarantee you get to the end with that strategy, but I think it helps a little bit. We'll see. One of these seasons, maybe I'll get a chance to try it out. We shall see. All right, let's see. Kent 427. Congrats to the U.S. hockey team winning gold. And Michelle Moore saying, do you play hockey? Brown Hustler says, play broomball. I've played broomball with Kennedy Franken. Oh, that's pretty cool that y'all played together. Okay, sorry. No, not with Kennedy. Kennedy's saying hockey and ice with regular shoes and a broom. All right, I get it. If y'all play broomball together, that'd be pretty cool. When I worked at Six Flags over Texas, we used to have a broomball league, and like the gifts and souvenirs group, which I was part of, would compete against the food and beverage group, against the grounds maintenance, against the rides and operations. We all had our own little group we'd hang out with, and we do softball, and we did broomball. So I have played broomball a few times. Have I ever played hockey? No, I have not. I did take a hockey lesson when I was a kid. How old was I? Probably about 10 or 11. And I think a local ice rink had opened up. They had some kind of super promo. Your first ice hockey lesson free or $10 or something. And then they wanted you to sign up for more. And my mom said, all right, well, we'll do the first lesson. We got a free hockey stick out of it. I may still have this thing around here somewhere. Oh, solid wood. It's not like anything modern, but my brother and I both did it. We quickly realized that hockey was a lot further down the road. Learning how to skate was probably the first step. I can glide, sort of. I can move around. I can go around the rink without falling on my rear end too many times. I do a little bit more of a shuffle step when I do skating. I barely, sometimes if I tried, I can go backwards a little bit. So I have been on ice a few times, but yeah, I'm not a hockey player. And being a Texan, also not necessarily a huge hockey fan, but I do always watch for the Olympics ever since the Miracle on Ice, 1980. Oh my gosh. And this year, I feel a little bad. First of all, I love that it came down to Canada and the United States, the two best teams in the world, and they get to square off. And I thought that was very cool. If you're going to win, you might as well beat the best. And so it was fun going up against the Canadians. But as proud as I am, as excited as I am that we won, and I wouldn't have it any other way, but I do feel a little sad because I know how much passion and how much Canadians have invested into hockey. And for most of us, we're not to that level of passion for hockey. We're just not. It's a lot more for me. It'd be like my college football team making it to the national championship. I mean, it would be that level of passion and desire. So, yeah, I felt bad for the Canadians. What an exciting, not just the men's, but the women's as well. Both of them overtime games. That's just incredible. I'm amazed. And the kid who scored the goal kind of gets his teeth knocked out, and he's still out there on the ice competing. It's an incredible sport. I don't know enough really about the strategies and everything else, but I still love watching the game, and it was great. Having said all of that, as exciting as yesterday was with the match and all that, it still is not the same as 1980 against the Russians. It wasn't even the gold medal game. It was a semifinal game. But here we are playing the Russians, and it's so much more. Back then, it was so much more than just the sport. I mean, that's real. I mean, yeah, we've had our squabbles here and there over the past year or two between us and Canada. Yeah, little things here and there. But back in 1980, it was against the Russians. We had had our hostages grabbed by Iran. The Russians had taken over Afghanistan. The Cold War was in full effect. Inflation was through the roof. Our economy was horrific. There were so many things going on. We had Sandinistas down in Nicaragua and just all kinds of stuff going on. And it was really kind of a low point. And to suddenly have us playing the Russians had come in and played all these NHL teams. And I think they beat all but one of them. And the U.S. against that was putting up a bunch of college kids. It's like putting a bunch of college kids up against the NCAA football champions or something. I mean, or the Super Bowl champions. It was just incredible. It was so much more than just a hockey match in that one. And there were zero expectations that we were going to win that game. I still remember I was 15 years old watching it in front of the TV. That and Mike Tyson getting knocked out by Buster Douglas, the two sporting events that I saw live that I will remember to my dying day. And just the pride and the excitement of the U.S. back then, it was just incredible. If y'all haven't seen Miracle with Kurt Russell, watch it because it is a fantastic deal. Now, there's a show on Netflix, a documentary about that team from the 80s as well. And I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's fantastic. But yeah, that was a bunch of college kids against basically Russian pros in that game. Whereas yesterday's game, as great as it was, every single person on the Canadian and the U.S. team were NHL players. So it was just a different vibe. It doesn't take away from yesterday's game, but 1980, incredible. But it did bring up a lot of memories, and props to all of those players and all of those teams. And props to them for not throwing away their little plushies when they got handed it, because especially if I'd lost that game, last thing I want is to get handed a little stuffed animal. They did get a silver, but yeah, it was fun. We had a lot of fun watching it, and it just made me wonder: are there more dentists per capita in Canada as opposed to the United States? Just because hockey just seems like those pucks just are magnets to enamel. It looks like to me. Remember Dane from Big Brother Canada was a hockey player, and he had a bridge. I remember once upon a time when I was a little kid, I went to a few hockey games. They used to have a team they've got a team now in Dallas. They used to have a minor league team in Dallas, the Blackhawks, and we would go see their games a little bit. And so I do remember seeing games back then. They didn't even wear helmets. They were just nothing at all. Nowadays, at least they got helmets on, but you would think you could drop it down just a little bit further. But anyway, now I had a lot of fun watching it. All right, Brian is saying they were playing loud music in the boxes, so it was hard to hear outside of the boxes. The penalty boxes or the Traitors. Here I am hooked into. I thought you were thinking the penalty boxes or something on that thing. All right, Traitors. Yeah, I brought that up last week. How could they not hear the Eric and Rob getting out of those boxes as squeaky as it was? That makes sense that they were playing some kind of music on that. They did that. They did that when we were doing hide and go veto. They didn't want us to be able to tell what room people were inside the house. So we each had to sit in a separate little cabana thing, and we put headphones on, and they would play music while each person ran in and either hid their veto or then later when they were searching for other people's vetoes. And I remember saying, can we tell you what music to play? And no, you just have to listen to whatever we play. But they did play music the whole time, which was kind of cool. But yeah, I think, Brian, I'm not surprised that they did something like that, because otherwise there's no way you wouldn't be able to hear who was coming out of those boxes, right? I don't think. But that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's see. What else? Kennedy is saying, did everyone see that Nicole and Victor? Oh, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. Had their twins named Goldie and River. And Heather Luck is saying, love them and their little family. So happy. Warms my heart to see people happy. Okay. Yeah, I saw that posted. Congratulations to both of them. Yeah, these Big Brother people all having babies left and right at this point in time. Uh, yeah, it was pretty cool. Victor, uh, can anyone think of what Victor and I have in common in Big Brother? I'll just leave that sitting out there for a second. But yeah, I love to see him. Congratulations to both of them. I saw a couple of postings on it, so very cool. All right, what we had in common, I'll go ahead and throw it there. Victor, I think has one entry back into the game the same number of times I can. I can't remember exactly how that works out, but basically, I got to come in twice. I won the banishment. The Dark Force came back in. I was kicked out. I won the battle back. I came back in. Victor got kicked out twice, and he came back in. And so I think we have the record for that. I'm not sure it's a record you want to be proud of, but hey, at least it means that you were back in and playing the game again. But yeah, I've never met either one of them in person. One of these days, I'd love to do so and just say howdy and say hi to the babies as well. Now, I do have a little bit of announcement that I will mention since we're talking about babies and things like that. I am proud to announce that I'm getting ready to be a grandpa here pretty quick. Yeah, I'll give you more details later. But here in the next month or two, I'm gonna be a grandpa myself. So I'll tell y'all more later. But yeah, I guess that SKD 143 is going to have to stretch out just a little bit more. So anyway, I'm pretty excited. You think I'm smiling now? Just wait. Yeah, I won't even need to say anything. You'll just see me. I'll look like a jack-o'-lantern. I have the biggest smile on my face. I'll look like a Jim Carrey or something. My smile will be so big. Yeah, pretty cool. I'm gonna be a fun grandpa, I think. And now it's just gonna be a matter of how long before I can get my grandchild onto I don't know, Big Brother, The Survivor, something like that. Would that be cool? New twist. Guy comes in with his grandchild to play Big Brother. Yeah, that we could make that work. How horrible would you have to be to boot that person out of the house? Well, when the baby's crying in the middle of the night, maybe not that mean. But anyway, yeah, I'm very excited to kind of start hitting the next stage in life. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's see what else. Parker is saying, is OG Texas Giant better than the new Texas Giant? Oh, yeah, it's been a while since I've been at Six Flags. I rode the Texas Giant, the Shockwave. They had one, the old Big Bend ride as well. Texas Giant was the wooden roller coaster. I've never was my favorite. They've got the new one, and is that the Texas Giant? There's another one there that is tall. It is high, and as you get to the top, I absolutely feel like I'm falling out of my seat every time I've gone on it. So yeah, I think the new one is probably always better than the old one. I've learned this though: the older I get, the less attraction I have to roller coasters. Now, there's other rides that I still love going on. Mission Space at Disney, and there's a lot of rides. Expedition Everest is still fun, but there's just certain roller coasters that it no longer has a whole lot of attraction if it's 400 feet in the air and it's a 90-degree drop straight down. And the worst are the wooden roller coasters because those are the ones that will just absolutely knock your teeth in. So yeah, I guess I'm turning into an old fuddy-duddy at this point in time. Oh, God, when I worked at Six Flags Over Texas, at night we would have people from visiting theme parks, Six Flags Over Georgia, or someone would show up. They would shut down the park for guests, and it would be open just for the employees and the people from the other park. And they would have the rides open for 2 or 3 hours, and we would just ride over and over and over again. I rode some of those rides so many times, and we had so much fun just being goofballs while we rode the rides. It was a lot of fun. Fun memories thinking about some of that. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Lots of congratulations, Sharon's telling me. Thank you. Thank you. I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, Clinton, how are you? Grand Hog Day. There you go. That's pretty good. I have to remember that. All right, and Karen is saying, is your son or daughter going to be a parent? It's going to be my daughter and my son-in-law. So they're the ones. She's my oldest, so I guess to be expected, whatever. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I'll give out more details later as we get a little bit closer and all that. But yeah, It's gonna be, yeah. Who knows? I don't know that I'll do cliff notes with a baby on my lap. Doubt my daughter will let me do that, but somewhere down the road, we may do something a little bit fun. I'll who knows? I shouldn't throw out any suppositions or anything because I'll get them shut down real quick. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, so we've talked about Traitors a little bit. What else? Oh, we've talked about Survivor, and how excited we're getting for that. Survivor's going to have Beast Games. We saw in Beast Games they went out to Survivor Island, Fiji. Apparently, as part of Survivor, we're going to have Mr. Beast Games himself. What's his real name? Jimmy something, I think. Anyway, he's going to be out there. I can only think that he's going to offer someone a suitcase with massive amounts of money if they walk away from the game of Survivor. And I'm just curious to see if people would take that. Yeah, you tend to get very A-type personalities playing the game of Survivor. If it's 50 people, I could see someone saying, yeah, 50,000, 100,000. I don't know what it would take to get someone to walk away from the game. I don't know. I would expect just to get them to play the game, there's probably a decent size stipend that each of these people is getting guaranteed, whether they go home number 50 or number one. Of course, if you're number one, yeah, $1 million plus maybe. I haven't heard. Have y'all heard that? Is there going to be an extra? You would think if there's 50 people playing the game, it shouldn't be $1 million. It should be $2 million. It should be $5 million. And if they do that, then maybe they could actually bump up Big Brother a little bit as well. But 50. How would you like to be the person who shows up and you're not just number 18? You're not booted first, and you can say, I came in 18th place. No, I got booted first, and I was number 50 in the equation. There's 49 people that played the game better than I did. That'd be a real kick in the shins, wouldn't it? But it's going to have to be someone, I suppose. You could have to have a season that doesn't extend all the way into next Christmas. They're going to have a lot of episodes where you have 2 tribal councils, right? Or you're going to. How do you even start? 5 tribes of 10 people each. It's a lot of people, but I could easily see episodes where you're going to have 2 or 3 tribal councils all having to boot someone out in some form or manner, or maybe at some point, some tribe, the losing tribe, y'all all go home, or you're voting on which person stays, and the other 4 of you are going home or something. I don't. With that many people, there are a lot of new things that they could do if they wanted to play it, which I have trepidations with. I mean, on the one hand, try out some of the twist while you've got returning players and just see how it works, I suppose. But I'm kind of old school as well. And I'd be perfectly happy if they cut way down on the twist and just had immunity idols and the challenges and not a whole lot else in between. Pull back a little bit on some of the twist. I don't think that'll be the case. I think it's going to be the opposite. But we'll see. But yeah, I am curious to see if they showed up, Beast Game showed up, said, all right, here's 200K. Who's walking away for $200,000? That's change your life kind of money. I'm watching Beast Games, and I've told y'all before, I feel like I say it every week. I'm still shocked that there are people who turn away $1 million because, oh, well, I've got to be loyal to these other people who I just met 4 days ago. But yeah, I'm turning down $1 million because I want to be friends with them. No way. Not a chance in Hades that I'm doing that. You can curse me every name that you want in the book. You can show me your little kids and talk about how they're gonna not be able to go to school because I took the money from. You can do whatever you want, and I'm gonna say, I'm really sorry, and here, I just won $5 million, so here's some Amazon gift cards. Go take care of it. I would be friendlier than that, and if I won the whole thing, then I'd like to think I'd take care of some people that played the game with me and all that. But having said that, if I have a chance to walk away with $1 million playing Beast Games, Survivor, Big Brother, anything, I'm out of here. Skedaddle. I love playing the game, guys. Love being on TV, but I kind of like $1 million more. I'm a different mentality. Maybe it's because I'm a little bit older than some of the people playing the game, and maybe that money just has more significance for me. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked at these people because it's not as though, okay, I'm going to turn it down, but chances are if I don't turn it down, I've got a real good chance of winning this thing at the end anyway. No, no. This last episode, there were 10 people. I think they're down to 6 as we finished up the episode. You still only have a 1 in 6 chance of winning any money whatsoever. Uh, take the money and run. There's a reason they wrote that song, and I'm on a soapbox talking about how you should be greedy if you play the game, but I'll stand by it. I would have taken that money so fast. They wouldn't even finish getting the words out of my mouth. I would hit that bell, say, "Yeah, sorry guys, you don't. If you're gonna yell at me, you better do it quick, because as soon as I get the check, I'm running to the car and I'm going home to rent a limo and go pick up my wife, and we're gonna go eat somewhere fancy. We're going to Olive Garden tonight. By God, we we'd sell." We'd celebrate. We'd get the Caesar salad and the tour of Italy both. Yeah, we'd have fun. All right. Heather Luck is saying, would you do a Fear Factor for $1 million? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would. Now, the bigger question, not would you do Fear Factor? Would you do everything they ask you to do in Fear Factor? Yes, but it's easy for me to say when I'm not sitting here smelling a sardine, calf heart, worm infested, maggot swimming on the top smoothie that I'm expected to chug in the next 30 seconds. I mean, I don't know if there truly is a way that you can trick your mind into letting you do things that everything evolutionary in your system says, don't eat that. That's really stupid for you to be eating that. That doesn't make good evolutionary sense for you to be trying to consume that particular mix of products. You know, your body knows what it's talking about, and somehow you're expected to betray your body. So yes, I would do it for $1 million. I'd do it for a lot less than $1 million. And truly, as much as I hate the cold and all that, I could put up with a lot. Heck, yeah. You turn me into Mr. Freeze, put me in the middle of a Slurpee, and just have me put me in a hockey rink. I could do that for $1 million. But my weakness probably would be consuming the nasty foods. Super spicy, no problem. 72-ounce steak, eating massive food, no problem. It's the gross stuff. Eating anything that has stuff that's still moving around on the inside kind of is my line that I draw, at least in normal life. I've been to a few places at different points in my life traveling around where I looked at food and I wasn't 100% convinced that I could tell the difference between the spaghetti noodles and the parasites that were in there as well. And if you can't 100% tell, 99% really isn't good enough at that point in time. And that happened in Warri, Nigeria. I thought goat meat pepper soup was a fantastic choice because even if the meat was a little bit spoiled, if you put enough pepper in it, probably you're not going to notice. And so I started eating my goat meat pepper soup, and I looked down and saw what to this day, I hope they were noodles that were mixed in, little glass noodles. But then I started thinking about some of the goats I'd seen and what they were eating as I drove around town and all that. And I said, I'm not really hungry enough for the rest of the trip that I'm going to worry about eating anything else. And then I spent the rest of the trip wondering if the medicines I'd taken were enough to take care of whatever I just ingested. So yeah, Fear Factor, I would do it. Could I win it? I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that there's nothing I wouldn't do. That's the wrong way to put it. There's lots of things I wouldn't do for $1 million, but within the context of a game they're going to show on TV, I'd like to think there's nothing that I would say, yeah, no, it's not worth $1 million. It would be worth it. I just don't know if I could trick my system into actually letting me do some of that. I think my trick would be, as bad as it would be for me, make sure that it's even worse for other people. As much as I'm going to be disgusted trying to drink that drink, if I make it sound even more disgusting to the people around me, maybe someone else goes out before me. And maybe that's my strategy is I don't have to be successful. I just don't have to be as bad at it as someone else. So if I start saying, oh my God, they're moving in here. Oh my God, they're having babies. These worms are having babies. I'm not even going to go that route. I feel like I could discuss people even a little bit more in Fear Factor. But yeah, Fear Factor would be one of my whammies. You know what would get me, and we didn't really talk about much, and we don't have a lot of time on that, but Extracted. I like to think that you could put me out in the woods and I'd go fishing. If I had to eat some raw fish, I'd do it. I think I could get fire started. Bears wouldn't scare me any more than most people, a little bit, but I'd be okay with wildlife out there. Mosquitoes could bite me in 101 different spots. I'd hate it, but I'd be okay with it, and all that. But being cold, I always tell Sharon I'm going to go on Naked and Afraid just because that would be my ultimate test. And I know they're going to put me out somewhere where it's pouring down rain and it's freezing cold. And even just me pumping gas a couple of nights ago wearing a shirt sleeve. And it's like, oh my God, it's 50 degrees out here. I'm freezing. And Sharon's laughing because I'm sitting there pumping gas, shivering because it's 50 out there. They put me out there where it's a little wet and 30 degrees. I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be the most angry, just mean person to try to live with because I'm just going to be in a bad, rotten mood because I'm going to be so cold and miserable. And it would take all of my willpower and discipline not to raise my hand and say, first night, I'm done, guys. It would be the ultimate battle of wills for old Cliff Hogg. You got the fact that I'm so stubborn on this side, and you've got the fact that I can't stand the cold weather on this side. The two meet in the middle between a rock and a hard place. Which one wins out? I don't know, which is what makes it a little bit exciting because I don't know how it'd handle that kind of pressure. But yeah, I feel the same way on Fear Factor. It would be fun, but there's a few things that would be a little more challenging than others. So yeah, we'll see. I've enjoyed Extracted. Y'all, I think we won't worry. Spoiler alert if y'all didn't see it, but poor Sandra and her daughter, and then it was her son-in-law, I believe, that was actually out in the wilderness. Sandra was going to let her son-in-law sit out there to the very end. I don't care how miserable he was. I'm sure Sandra's saying, I did it. You can do it too. Yeah, you don't need to be getting done. I think his name was Eric. She said, you don't need to be shutting down. Just because you're miserable doesn't mean I'm pulling you out of here. Well, eventually they pulled him out because he got just so woe is me about everything. But even at the end, Sandra said, I'm not doing it. You're going to have to go up there to her daughter. You're going to have to go up there and get your husband out. I'm not going to be the one pushing the button. And I think at the very end, she may have helped push it. But yeah, Sandra's after my own heart. I think she's the same way I would have been with my son or my daughter, but much more likely my son saying, you can stand a whole lot more than you've stood. I don't care how much you're whining. You're staying out there a little bit longer. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun episode to watch. All right. Clinton is saying it's crazy. You were the last one to use to win a battleback competition. I know. Isn't that something? I'm a little bit surprised. Now, I think some of it has to do with COVID and just a different mentality. Because ever since then, remember we had the with Jared and and who else? God, I can't remember his name. The zombies, where they came out. I mean, we've had people who won their way back into the game, but we haven't had since my season people who were taken out of the game and then brought back in. And I think that has a little bit to do with COVID, because you think about it when now even mine was a little bit different because we had David and Kimmy and Ovi were still living in the house. So they weren't in sequester. David was a little bit at the very beginning, but for the most part, they weren't in sequester even during my season. But before that, people, when they got booted out, were in sequester before the battle back. I think production finally said, we're spending a lot of money having to just kind of babysit these people wherever the sequester spots are. I don't even know where that would be. But we're having to spend a lot of money doing that. Let's change it up and not do that anymore. So I think they got away from that. So now you're faced a little bit more of, if we're going to do a battle back, how do we let these people compete without putting them in different sequester spots? For us, they said, we'll let them stay in the house. Do you do that every time? I don't know. I hate to see it go away completely. And now they've kind of replaced the battle back with these every week. We're going to do the extra, the blockbuster competition, whatever they call it every year. We're going to give you one more chance to survive before you get booted out of the house, which fair enough. And I know it brings a lot more drama on Thursday nights, but yeah, I am I'm very grateful. Oh, I hate that word. I'm very appreciative that we did have a battle back by season, because otherwise my game would have had not quite the same story arc that it did. But I was glad that I was able to go out there, not just win the battle back, but I won battle back on live TV with Julie Chen watching and not cheering me on, but at least commenting as I did it. And knowing there were millions of people watching and cheering for me, against me, I feel like there were plenty of both. But yeah, that was a fun experience. I'm glad I got to do that particular deal. Now, someone asked me a couple of weeks ago, would you have preferred not to do the battle back and just stayed in the game, not gotten voted out? There's something to be said for that. I mean, then I wouldn't, because I've had people say, "Oh, you would never deserve to win because you got voted out." Evil Dick has said that before. Nah, I don't buy that. I think if I'd been out of the house for 4 or 5 weeks, maybe, but not when it was 5 minutes or whatever. But if I hadn't gotten blindsided, voted out that week, I I just don't think Nicole would have won that battle back, and the whole game would have changed. Now, it could have been Ovi, and it seemed, I think he had more after me. He came in second. He had one stone in, and so if it'd been Ovi coming back in, we could have worked together and all that. But yeah, the whole season would have changed. So it's easy to look at the hindsights on. Now that I know I won the battle back and then won HOH, it's such a cool story to have. I'm glad it went down that way. But yeah, at the time I wasn't real happy. I was so worried between the time I got voted out and we went out in the backyard, because I could just picture some horrific battle back competition, either something that was 100% entirely random, or something that I just wasn't going to be very good at. Now, at one point, I say that, let me back up a little bit. We did know what the competition was going to be. They had to explain the rules to us, give us a real quick practice run between commercials, just because it was live TV. So they didn't want us out there for an hour. No one could get any balls sunk. So we did know, but there was a period of time between when I was pretty sure I was going to get voted out and when they went out and showed us what it was, that yeah, I was a little bit nervous, but it worked out. You gotta be flexible. You just have to adapt and accept however it's gonna go. All right, let's see what we've got. Sonia Battles is saying, what if you did a live after Survivor or the next day, so Mondays are still for everything? That's a good thought. And I was debating, because Traitors will be wrapped up. Could I cover Survivor as well? There's too much going on right now, between work and getting ready to be grandpa and all that. And I wouldn't want to do it if I couldn't give full value to it. And in all honesty, there's people who've played the game of Survivor that probably can do commentary on it with a little more authority than me. But that's an interesting idea. I'll consider it. And it probably won't be anything where I will commit to every night after Survivor or every day the following day we're going to do a wrap up, because I just don't know that I can commit to that. But having said that, it may be fun to come out and do just a little 15 or 20-minute thing, which makes me think, if you already subscribed, you may want to consider doing so, just in case. But no, I actually like that idea, Sonia. Thank you. I'll think about it. We'll see what's going on. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot to talk about in Survivor. And I don't want the Monday nights to be nothing but Survivor talk. We'll try to still keep it somewhat broad. But yeah, I know when you've got a 3-hour episode, I know there's gonna be a lot we talk about. So yeah, let me see what I can do. That'd be kind of interesting. All right, Carol is saying 3 tribes of 8. First tribe wins immunity. Lori Kelly saying going to be 24 players. Where did I season 50? That's what I was saying. Yeah. All right. 24 makes more sense. Why did I'm sitting there talking 50 players? No, you're right. 24 players. So 3 tribes of 8. That's all right. It would be fun to have 50 players. Heck, they'd have to be rating into Amazing Race and Big Brother and all kinds of reality shows to get 50 folks out. 24 makes a lot more sense. Thank you for that. And if you're watching this on replay, just go back and ignore the first part. No. Thank you. I'm glad you corrected me before it wrapped up. Yeah, 24 players. Still a lot. I still stand by. They're going to have some double evictions or 2 tribals and things like that. But you know what? I do like that. Nothing against 6. Well, it is against 6 tribes. When you have 18 players and you've got 6 tribes, I just feel like it's too easy to get 2 other people, and suddenly now they've got a majority, and you can get people out who really haven't had a chance to play the game yet. And I want everyone to have a chance to play. If you've got 8 tribe members, now you've got to get 4 people just to force a tie. I feel like it's not about hiding under the radar. It's giving everyone a chance to sell themselves just a little bit more. It means you've got a higher percentage of people that are surviving that first tribal council or two and getting their feet underneath them. And I like seeing that. So I've always been a little bit more old school, even if it goes back to 16 players. I've always liked having 2 tribes of 8. Heck, 2 tribes of 9 would be fine with me. The 3 tribes, it's more new school, and I'd love going back. But yeah, 3 tribes of 8 sounds like a perfect formula for me. I'm so glad you told me that. Before I just sat here and spent the next week talking about, oh, it's going to be 50 players on here. Hey, Cliff, who's the other 26 mystery players going to be? Oh, I don't know. I think it's going to be Rachel Riley and Rachel and Rachel and Rachel and Rachel. I don't know. All right, let's see what else we've got. We're getting right up against it. All right, let's see. We talked about hockey. We talked about a bunch of reality shows. I think we'll call it good. Man, we both watch a lot of reality TV. This weekend was all sports. It was hockey. It was my Aggies started the baseball season, so we watched a little baseball. There's still basketball going on. It's just a sports rich environment. Yeah, enjoy it because it's getting ready to be a reality TV environment as well. It's gonna be a fun week, guys. With that, I think we'll go ahead and shut it down. I hope y'all have a fantastic week. For those of you who are sitting out there in the snow, man, grab you some cocoa and find you YouTube channel. It's got a Yule log on improv. You can go back to Christmas again. Jasmine had a month of birthdays. We should have a couple of months of Christmas, right? Enjoy the cold weather while you still can. It'll be summer before you know it. But if you're on YouTube, go check out Fandango as well, and check out my recap from last week if you haven't done that yet. All right, guys, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications. You can hit the old thumbs up as well, and if you weren't pestered by a bunch of ads tonight, then especially go hit the thumbs up, and I'll certainly notice that. But I hope y'all have a fantastic week. I will finish up with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love my future grandchild as well. And I love you guys that hang with me every Monday night. And those of you who watch on replay, go live your best life. I will see y'all next Monday. Who knows? Between now and then, maybe we'll do a quick little Instagram live or something and talk about Survivor. We'll see what's going on. But guys, you have a great week. And I will talk to y'all next Monday. Until then, cheers, my friends.